So, no one seems to like The Witcher Blood Origin. What a terrible, terrible shame. However, I did still receive the obligatory
"If you don't like it, why'd you watch it?"
comments that never cease to make me chuckle. So, for the benefit of those slower viewers, allow me to briefly explain why sometimes I partake in things that I don't necessarily enjoy. I am what you might refer to as the woodlouse of the entertainment world. Rather insignificant, very small, rather unhygienic, but I have a very important job. My job is to take what most would consider to be garbage, something to be thrown out. I take this and I synthesize it into something that people might find a little more palatable. I turn into... That's it. Alright? Okay. So, this is an open invitation to each and every single one of you. Please feel free to go down below and leave a comment that simply says,
"If you don't like it, why'd you watch it?"
And I'll be sure to have a good chuckle when I come to read them. Now everyone is on board, how about we set sail? Destination, The Witcher Blood Origin, Episode 2. Supposedly the beginning of a very sudden and very violent downward spiral into complete nonsense. But we'll just have to find out for ourselves, won't we? Let's go. And we begin with a new protagonist, and she might be a dwarf, but she's certainly not short of conversation.
You sure? Maybe he's not in there.
Who is she talking to?
Fair enough, Gwen. Good point.
Ah, she's talking to the hammer. She's talking to the hammer. That is a little strange, but at least she's not singing to it, I guess. Never mind. A convenient arrangement of furniture there, wasn't it? Also, very convenient that she should break into a house where the floors are much higher on the inside than they are on the outside. Okay, so it's obviously done for a reason, but I fear that, oh, isn't that convenient? I fear that might become a common statement when referring to this show. We press onward, and then, of course, this being a strong, independent female who don't need no dwarf, the writers feel the need to immediately show us just how brave and bold she is, so she breaks into the house and begins to pommel a room full of gentlemen. At least that's what we think happens. We don't actually see it, we just hear it, because the whole shot is from outside. Yes, we spend the whole action scene outside of the building. I do hope they don't keep doing this, like just inferring that the dwarf is doing damage and just cutting to the aftermath and not actually showing us how it happens. I want to see us swinging a hammer about.
Don't worry, love. We'll find him.
So she killed a room full of men because they wouldn't tell her where someone is. Seems maybe a little bit extreme, especially considering she didn't particularly press the gentleman. She just kind of broke in, murdered them all. But hey, what's a modern production without a little bit of moral ambiguity? She's not insane, you're just a bigot. And you would think, this being a short series, they wouldn't have a whole lot of time for, filler and time padding. But after this completely sane dwarf is done murdering a room full of what we have to assume aren't innocent gentlemen, we don't know, when she's done murdering these poor blokes, the camera then holds on her face and kind of walks off with her, but it holds the shot for just a little bit too long, for a weirdly long amount of time. Well, if you didn't think she was insane beforehand, you definitely should now. And maybe it's because I can't get this image out of my head. I don't find Lenny Henry particularly threatening as an antagonist. I can't tell if it's his acting or the script. My guess is a little bit of both.
What would you suggest we do? Invite them over for tea? Bake them a honey cake?
Arrest the guild leadership.
And then the two antagonists begin to talk with one another about Fjarl and the Lark, and I have no idea how they know this stuff.
Fjall and the Lark were spotted in Galeth.
mean, I know that Fjarl and the hurdy-gurdy assassin, had a fight with a bunch of mercenaries sent by these guys in the last episode, which, by the way, how on earth did they know they were there? They were at a village at the edge of the earth, or whatever they said. God knows how they found them so quickly, and how they knew they were there in the first place. But regardless, they killed them all. So how word got back to these guys, I have no idea. Characters just know stuff, and that's the way it is. And they really are trying to hammer home that this isn't a generic story. Oh, we promise you this isn't a generic story, whilst also telling you it's a generic story.
Two warriors who overcame all obstacles, stacked against them, bound together by destiny, etc., etc.
And yes, while a narrator can be a very novel way of embellishing storytelling, using one simply to spout exposition is straight up lazy. It's about as lazy as it can get, really. The narrator is literally explaining the story to us as it goes. This isn't Nickelodeon. This isn't Dora the Explorer. This is a television show aimed at an adult audience.
Desperate to find a way to free herself of Balor's grip, she knew he'd kill her as soon as he was done with her.
They could have written a scene that we could have inferred this information from, but no, we get a lazy-ass shot of her just walking down the corridor while the narrator tells you what's going on. They tell you what what they're thinking. They let you in on all the little nuances. This is the kind of stuff you're supposed to tell through storytelling, through interactions between characters, facial expressions, gestures, anything. Just not someone telling you, this is what is going on. Do you understand? This is good stuff. This is really good stuff. Jonny sat there, an uncertain smirk painted jauntily across his face, both thumbs protruding skyward. The statement he had just made was, without question, sarcasm.
The little boy is starving. When your empire grows fat.
Impressive that she was able to hold back a guy intent on stabbing her. Very convenient. Anyway, she's, the stabbist is then killed by a Freddie Highmore looking ass dude who turns out to be Avallac'h, who we Witcher fans will be somewhat, at least, familiar with. And yes, I agree, he looks nothing like Avallac'h. He doesn't even have the right hair colour. A lot can change in 1,000 years, I suppose.
But most people call me Avallac'h.
Oh, my name is Avallac'h. Okay. Not all my jokes are good. Not all my jokes are funny. Sometimes I can be childish too. All right.
As Ayla, Fjarl, and Skian continued south towards Centrea to hunt down everyone behind the bloody coup, the three hunters had themselves become the hunted.
Thank you for explaining that to us. We would have had no idea otherwise. What would we do without you? Okay, one thing I will give them credit for is that, our protagonists have just been in a big fight and they do have actual injuries. Fjarl's got the big fat eye. Too many times in TV shows and movies do you see protagonists get into a great big ruckus and they leave with one obligatory scratch somewhere on their face just to let you know that they've been in a fight. It's the only praise I have so far, but it is something. Then we rejoin the Empress, who knows that when Lenny Henry is done with her, he's definitely going to murder her. So, what does she do? She blackmails the man who has just saved her life. She's a charming young woman, she really is. But regardless of the imminent threat of murder, she still cares about the people, man. And she has to see what life is like outside of the palace walls. So, she sneaks out of the palace. And she does so by, get this, putting a hood on. Yes. She didn't disguise herself in any way, did nothing to cover her face. She put a hood on.
Where are you going?
I need to know what's happening outside these palace walls.
Now, at this point, you're all thinking, who on earth are you and what have you done with Jonny? But you see, it was me the whole time. You have been fooled by my disguise. So, she escapes the palace and is getting jiggy with the locals, getting in amongst it all. And I must warn you of some incoming cringe, so if you do have any kind of protective gear, now would be the time to put it on. Is this a musical? Have I accidentally put on a musical? Why is a stranger singing to her? Have I put on West Side Story by mistake? And some of you will have noticed that the song this very musical stranger is singing is the very same song sung by the hurdy-gurdy assassin at, in the start of the first episode. I'm surprised the narrator hasn't piped up to tell us that yet. And it would appear that I was right with the isn't that convenient being the flavour of the month, as she then bumps into one of the two people who could possibly kill her at any moment. He doesn't spot her and doesn't bat an eyelid. How very convenient. Very well hidden, no one will ever see you there. Fun fact, I once spent about 3 months learning sign language because I used to work in the shop and one of the regulars was deaf, and I figured, I'll try to learn a bit of sign language and then, maybe I can try talking to him a bit. So, like I say, spent a couple of months practicing. He came into the shop. I tried out a couple of things. He just kind of giggled and moved on. I was like, okay, obviously that didn't work. And then I later found out that there is a difference between American Sign Language and British Sign Language. Now, obviously, I'd been learning online, and it had said ASL on all my lessons. I'm just like, oh yeah, that's just like an acronym for sign language of some sort. But it turned out that meant American Sign Language. Yeah, it turns American and British deaf people speak two completely different languages. So 3 months wasted, I guess, and I'd been talking complete gibberish to a poor deaf guy who probably thought I was trying to mock him. Anyway, the reason I bring this up is because there is a deaf character in this.
He knows nothing of the power of the arid world.
Now, although I spent many moons mastering American Sign Language by mistake, my knowledge of sign language is very limited. However, I just don't think that what she signs in this scene is what the subtitle says she says. Hey, like I say, I don't know. That seemed very streamlined. It was just like that, and then she said, maybe that is what she says. Someone who knows more about sign language will have to let me know, but that doesn't. I don't know. That might be gibberish. We then rejoin Fjarl and the gang, and a stranger has emerged.
Let's just say I'm one. For a good story.
Not sure how sharp that is if it's not cutting your facial hair or neck whilst you do that, but ooh, aren't you a scary boy?
Generous bounties. What'd you do to earn them?
So we've got a Welshman, a Scotsman, and an Englishwoman. Might sound like the start of a pub joke, but no, it's just the plot to a Witcher television show.
The name's Callan. But most folks call me Brother Death.
Oh, is that your Xbox gamer tag? Ooh, very cool. Anyway, Michelle Yeoh's character is, and I call her that because I don't know what her character's name is. If I'm being honest, I don't know what most of these characters' names are. But whatever her name is, she's dying.
You'll be much faster to Centrea without me.
I'm sorry, but we've seen her in like 1.5 fight scenes. I don't care if this character dies. I don't know it. I don't know their name. I don't know anything about them. I don't know if the writers are trying to tug at our heartstrings, but this character is on the brink of death, and I don't care. What is it that I keep saying about this show?
I can take you to a healer.
A mage.
Of sort.
Oh yeah, isn't that convenient? What? This woman is dying, and they're making her walk. Oh, you're all a big, scary, dangerous band of assassins, and not one of you can carry a small woman. Okay, and in regards to the scene where they meet the healer, admittedly, I did pause to go take a shit, but I have absolutely no idea what is going on. People are just popping in and out of the place. The scene's moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I have absolutely no idea what is going on. If one of you poor bastards who actually watch this show can tell me what the Mary J. Blige is going on, that would be wonderful. But it's very hard to make jokes about something you can't understand. Sorry.
You'd think finding a sergeant with one eye and a penchant for pretty dwarves would be easy. I can hear Gwen laughing at me. Cursing the gods each time I missed you.
Oh, what joy. She's back, and more insane than ever. Is this going to be a thing? Are we just never going to see this dwarf in an action scene? Is it always just going to be like, it's just going to be inferred, it's just going to be assumed what she's done with we're just going to see the aftermath. We've seen her talk to her hammer more frequently than she's used it. And yes, she's murdered yet another man, and she's now talking to him, which is wonderful. Are we sure that this person is a protagonist? I mean, in all the clips and the ads, she's shown to be with, you know, the main group, so we know that she's going to join them at some point. But even if this man is a deplorable person, she's murdered him in cold blood, is now painting on a wall with blood, and is talking to a dead guy. I mean, even if, I don't know if there's any justification or any explanation that will make this character seem level-headed and sane, but God knows the show is probably going to try and tell us, oh, but you need to love this character, because if not, you're going to bigot jail. Anyway, and then the Powerpuffs assemble in what is one of the most boring 10 minutes of television I think I've ever watched. That guy from the first episode basically begins to explain everything to the group. Once again, just using a character to tell everyone what's going on. Just spouting exposition rather than showing us, rather than writing a good scene. The thing with great creation, the thing with great art, is that it leaves you in awe. You're left sat there thinking, whoa, this is amazing, and I could never do that in a million years. Television and movie writing these days, however, also leaves me in awe, but because I'm left sat there thinking, wow, not only could I do that myself, but I could probably do it a hell of a lot better as well.
The gods brought us together. There's meaning in that.
Well, no, the writers brought you together, and I don't think there's any meaning behind any of this, really. Quiz question. What demographic is this TV show aimed at? If you said the illiterate and the innumerate, you're absolutely correct, because not only do they think that you're so stupid that you're going to need every single scene explaining to you, they also think that you're going to have a really hard time adding up the number of characters on screen.
And so, 3 became 4. And so, 4 became 6.
And then the character whose name I'm still not entirely sure of, I'm just going to call the hurdy-gurdy assassin, she gets attacked by a giant albino centipede, and they all live happily ever after. They really weren't kidding when they said it gets a lot worse after episode 1, and apparently this trend continues ever downward. So, episode 3 should be a right good laugh. Make sure you join me for that. Thank you very much for watching this video, and in the meantime, like and subscribe. You bitch. And also, if you're in the market for a lovely chair like mine, you can use my affiliate link down below, and you'll be helping me out too. And also, if you want to become a Patreon or a channel member, you can do so with the links down below. Talking of the patrons and the channel members, here they are. That's the smell of top tier members right there. Pozzabon, Flunky, Jax, and Brennus. Hope you all have a great new year, guys. As well as the tier 2 members Steve the Goat, Dr. Melsky, Saeed, MG, Virgil, Kuno, Sako, Mark, Maiden, Sensei, Fang, Hadziu, Michael, Terpia, and Yarnwich. And of course, a big thank you also to the tier 1 members and channel members as well. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you all have a very good new year, and I'll see you in 2023. There we go. Another day, another video. Will you join me for the next one? You better do, you cheeky little bitch. But until then, take care of yourselves, guys, and I'll see you then.